Hello, SolarLuna here, and this is a Let's Discuss, surprisingly. It's been a little while since the last time I uploaded anything to YouTube, so I thought I'd do something else, I guess you could say. I'd make something. So this is something that I didn't really plan this out so much. I was going to talk about another subject, but it's something that I saw on Reddit, on the game dev subreddit, about game development, and that's the different means by which you can go ahead and put yourself out there, put your games out there, promote yourself. And it's like we all know about Facebook, we all know about Twitter. Here's some other forums and means by which you can get your name out there. Those things are good means to an end. Twitter, Facebook. I'm on Twitter a lot. I use Facebook a little bit. I post on different game development forums and places like that about my projects. But I think that people actually could use a little bit of information on how to actually market things a little more, or get their information out there. Sometimes you see people, like, for example, they'll have a finished product and then they'll go to Twitter and make an account, and then they'll start posting about their game. And it's like, yeah, that's not going to get very far very quickly. I think that the thing that a lot of people don't want to see on Twitter, game developers, game players, is just like the feeling of spam, or the feeling of, I'm just trying to get views. I'm just trying to get you to be interested in my product. It's like, well, if you're not interested in my product, why should I be interested in your product? That's, as a game developer, why should I be interested in someone else's game when they don't show any interest in other people's products? They don't interact with the community, they don't contribute, they don't talk to people. All they are about is, hey, get my game, it's half off, or hey, what's your favorite part of my game? It's like, you feel like a corporation, or just kind of like a faceless person, rather than someone who's actually an indie developer working, dealing with different issues. That's something else. Another half to that is sometimes you'll go to people who make games forum, or rather Twitter pages, and they'll be like, oh, here's something I'm eating, or here's something I'm watching on television, or I love this show. And it's like, okay, those are cool. It's cool that you're a person, you should show your interests and things like that. But if you're a game developer, the people who follow you probably are game players or other game developers. So the things that you should be posting are probably game development related things. It's kind of weird to see a bio of a game developer that says, I'm a game developer, and see their media and their tweets, and it's like nothing about it is game development. It's all about other things. Because it's like, well, why am I following you? Like, to see what you're eating, to see what you're, watching on television. Like, okay, those are cool things, but, I want to see you at work. I want to see, what you're dealing with. I want to see the process of game development, what you find interesting, parts of your project that you're working on, what you find challenging, what you find funny about your project or about other game development, or what you find interesting about game development or video games in general. Kind of things to deal with the medium of game development. So just wanted to touch on that. Is basically, if you're going to be active on Twitter or Facebook and kind of in public areas, you want to make sure that you don't just talk about yourself, but rather talk about your craft, and don't just talk about your craft like, this is something I'm working on, this is something I'm working on, this is something I'm working on, but rather contribute to other people as well. That's how you build fans, especially when it comes to game development, because you can look at someone else's game and be like, that's really cool. I think that it would be a little better if those colors were shifted a little bit, or if that 3D model had a little bit of ambient occlusion added to it, into the diffuse texture, different things like that to help the developer make better games. If I'm someone who wants to make a great game, and I'm working on my project, and someone comes along and says, yo man, that's really cool, I like the way you look, you're doing this, and they follow me and say, this is really cool, I think that you would do better with this kind of color, or this kind of model or texture, I'd be like, thanks man. Even if I don't agree, I'm glad that someone's taken the time out to try to assist me with my craft. And then I'll look at their Twitter page, and I'll see they're talking to other people about game development. I'll see their project, and if it's interesting, I'll follow them. Now we're fans of each other. So now when our projects are mature, I'll retweet his stuff, he'll retweet my stuff. We're acquaintances in a sense. Whereas otherwise, it's like, hey, check out my thing. It's like, why would I do that? Why, not being rude. It's just like, I'm unless your thing is interesting, I have no kind of draw to it. Whereas if you engage me with my thing, with my information or my projects, and I engage you with your projects, now we kind of, have a little bit of a tiny bit of interest invested in the other person's projects. And then when we see them grow and get better, then we get a little bit, we're a little bit more of a fan. So that applies to you, to you individually as a game developer, yourself. You can look at, the, game dev, I was going to say subreddit. You can look at the game dev tag, hashtag on Twitter and look at different people's game projects. And, I follow a lot of people on Twitter, and a lot of them I find by the game dev robot or looking through game dev hashtag, and I see someone's project and it's like, man, that looks really cool. And I follow them, and then they follow me back, and it's like, okay, cool. Or I follow them, I say, hey man, that looks really cool. I like those, that art style, or I like that 3D model. And then they follow me back and say, thank you. So it's like, don't just, try to, it's not purely about views. It's not purely about trying to get people interested in your product or trying to just want it harder than everyone else. Because it's like if you could imagine a marketplace where everyone's, yelling their product out. No one's going to get anything, accomplished. Whereas if you go in there, both setting up your stall and looking at other people's, product that they're selling and they're trying to get people interested in, and tell them how to make it better, then they'll look at your product and see, okay, that could be better by this method or that method. And then later on, when they have customers, they'll say, hey, you should check out this dude's, product because it's really cool, or it looks good, or it tastes good, or whatever it is, with the marketplace analogy. And so the point is that basically just trying to be popular and grow on your own through just the merits of, yelling your information out there of what your product is or what it's about. I just bumped my microphone. You can grow like that, but it's better to kind of leverage other people and be leveraged to help other people too. So the more helpful you are, the better public perception you'll have, and the more eager other people will be to assist you. So it's just like, being a nice guy kind of helps out in general with your projects. Now, I think that there was another part of that, but I'm not sure exactly what. Oh, that's what it was. Don't just jump on Twitter with a finished product, like that kind of ties into my earlier statement where it's like, oh, here's something I'm eating, or here's something I'm, drinking, or here's something I'm watching on television. Okay, those are interesting, but if I'm someone who's, eager and passionate about games, then I want to see you make games. I want to see the stuff you're making for games. So if you post and say, here's something I'm making, here's the background music for my game, Gearend, or whatever the game is, well then, I'm more eager to listen to that because it's something related to your game. So if I listen to it and like it, and I look at the art and like it, and I look at the gameplay video and like it, see, I'm getting, eager to play it. As opposed to like, oh, like me on, Facebook or follow me on Twitter because I, tell it like it is when it comes to, buying stuff at Sears. It's like, you're a game developer. Post about your craft. Post about your craft. Don't hold that back in an attempt to, I don't know, in an attempt to kind of not take it, like not take it seriously, but not tip your hand, I guess you want to say, like not, kind of keep your game hidden and secret. I mean, you want to keep it hidden and secret in the sense of like, you don't want to give away specific plot details if it's, really important or really, a deep plot or something like that. But at the same time, you want people to know what you're working on and that you're working on things. You don't want it to, want to just like, shut your game off and just post about non-game dev related things, and then when your game's finished, put it out there as having been finished, and you can get it here or there for free or for 20% off, or $30, whatever it costs. Like that, you're not getting any kind of a hype. You want to build hype. That's it. I think that's basically it. You want to build hype, and you want to be interested in other people's projects too, so that they'll be interested in yours, or interact with your community more so if it's, or a lot if it's, you're dealing with basically pure fans, people who play your games. Then you want to be, you want to put yourself out there in that sense. All right, well, I don't want to take too much time. This has already been 10 minutes, surprisingly, and yeah, thank you very much for listening. I've been Solar Loon. This has been a Let's Discuss social media features, or how to use social media. Thanks a lot for watching and listening. See ya.